Hi guys, welcome back to Diamond Dave's Billiards. I'm Diamond Dave, and today I want to give a big shout out and thank you to another YouTube pool superstar, Mr. Lyle Chris. Mr. Chris, thank you for inspiring me to try to run my age in straight pool. I've got a couple more years on you, so I'll need a couple of extra balls, but I'll give it my best. Okay, let's start. If you watched my top 5 accessories every pool player needs, you'll remember this very reasonably priced $150 Mez Pro extension. And this is why it's in my top 5. Okay, that's 14 points for 14 years. 14 years old. It's quite nostalgic doing this. When I was 14, I was in high school. And I think when I was 14, that was a year of many firsts. I think I had my first girlfriend. Probably my first kiss, maybe my first taste of alcohol, a few other naughty things. Times were different back then when I was 14, but still good memories, good years. Okay, let's see if I can get another 14 to take me to 28 years old. another 14 points. Takes me to 28 years old. What happened when I was 28? 28's not a very important year, so it's kind of hard to remember anything interesting from 28. Where was I? Actually, this might be a little bit cheeky for this channel because I try to be family friendly. Like videos with like my top 5 pool accessories. It's quite family friendly videos like that, but I'll try to keep the language gentle. I'll just play this break shot first, and then I'll tell you a story about when I was 28 years old. So, when I was 28, I met a girl through some mutual friends, and we got on really well, and we had dinner a couple of times through those mutual friends. We were friends on the Facebook Messenger, and we talked a little bit. One day, she invited me to her house. It was about 10 p.m. I thought, that's a little bit strange. Like, why invite me to your house so late at 10 p.m. I accepted the invitation, and well, of course, you guys probably know this now, but I was only 28 years old and still quite naive. But she had plans to for things to get a little bit exciting. So one thing led to another, and we ended up in bed with each, in her bed. And things started, she was getting a little bit excited, and I was getting a little bit excited, and everyone was excited. And I was on my back, and she was kind of, sitting on me. I think they call it cowgirl position. I think cowgirl position. So she was, on my lap, and I was on my back, and everything was going well, and suddenly I felt this kind of interesting sensation in my lower parts, around my, around these guys. It's kind of a wet sensation, and I was really confused. I was like, what is that feeling? I don't know what that feeling is. And so I started to kind of look down there to see what that feeling was, and I couldn't see anything. I thought, is it her hands doing that? But I could see her hands, so it wasn't her hands. And then I thought, well, I thought, is it her feet doing that? Is she a contortionist or something? But I looked down and I could see her feet next to my thighs, so it wasn't her feet. So at this point I'm getting really confused. I'm like, well, what is this sensation that I can feel? So, as maybe those of you who are a little bit more experienced, as you might know, when you're on your back and the girl is in the cowgirl position, and things are moving up and down, and every now and then when they go up high enough, you can see a little bit of a gap between your body and their body. And so I look down in between my legs and I'm trying to see, what is this feeling, this kind of, this interesting sensation. It's amazing, but what is it? And she lifts up high enough, I can see light between her body and my body, and sticking up are these two little dog ears either side of my shaft. Not my pull shaft. Sorry about the language, like I said, a little bit cheeky. Now, what am I doing here? Okay, let's see. I don't need this cue. So there they were, these two little dog ears, and I hadn't realised, but her sausage dog had jumped up on the bed and he was licking my nether regions. It's really something, So there we were, and it was like, I hate to admit it, but it was actually quite enjoyable. But I thought, I can't let this keep happening. There's maybe a hygiene problem or something, and so I started kicking my legs left and right, trying to get him away from my balls, and he started jumping over my legs and making little barking sounds, and he thought we were playing. Eventually I kind of pushed him off to the side, and we were able to keep going, but it didn't quite end there. Another 14 points, so that puts me at 42. I was born in 19, so one more ball, and I'll have run my age in straight pool. But just to finish this story, I got the dog away and he jumped off the bed, and we continued, and eventually I ended up in the sort of upright position, and she was still on my lap. I don't know what you call that position when you go from the cowgirl position into an upright position, but you sort of move into an upright position, and so she was on my lap and I was sort of sitting upright, and she was getting near to her sort of final point of climax, and as she was doing that, she was becoming quite vocal and sort of really quite loud, and as she's expressing her pleasure at the events that are unfolding, suddenly I hear this "hoo" sound, and I look to the side, and the dog was back up on the bed, and he was sitting there, and he was singing with her, expressing his pleasure as she was expressing her pleasure. He was howling along with her, and hey, Jack and my dogs just come along at that sound. It was really quite something, but I didn't want to interrupt her enjoyment of the moment, so I focused on the task, and we kept going, and the dog kept howling, and she was howling, and they were howling together, and eventually she reached her ultimate goal, and I reached my ultimate goal, and the dog jumped off the bed and ran away, and it was a really strange moment, but so that was when I was 28 years old. That was 15 years ago. So, one more ball for my age. Oh, not a good break shot. And I stayed the night, and she never mentioned it. She never talked about it, never mentioned it. So, they must have been really close to be able to share that experience together, and I feel I was lucky to have shared that experience with her as well. And now I've got my own dog down here, Jack, and fortunately or unfortunately, he's never licked my balls, but maybe one day. Okay, I've got a tough position here. Let's see if I can keep going past my age, maybe I can break them up a little bit here. Oh, 44 points. Oh, I might be able to swerve this one just a little bit. Oh well, I got one more than my age, 44 points, so I'm pretty happy with that. And to finish that story, actually, I did stay the night at her house, and the next morning she received a phone call telling her that her father had passed away. And so I stayed at her house in the morning and I helped her clean the house up because she had to leave the country. Her father lived in a different country. So I helped her clean the house and put the pool cover over the pool, which felt quite symbolic at the time. And I went to the airport with her that same day, the next morning. I dropped her off at the airport, and I was sitting in the car, and I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to see this girl again, so I ran out of the car, ran into the airport and gave her one final kiss. And that was I'm 43 years old now, 43 points. So that was 15 points ago that happened. And to this day, I've never seen her again. But I still think about her.